Hi guys, it's Ashley from Ashley's Paper Heart, and today we are going to be doing a little bit of a project. So this is kind of a process video slash kind of tutorial. This is pretty self-explanatory process, but we'll be creating a masterboard, and then I will also, after getting the masterboard created, I will also be utilizing the masterboard and showing you kind of what you can do, and I can kind of give you some other ideas of what you could do with it at the end. But if you don't know what a masterboard is, it's basically taking a bunch of scraps of paper and gluing it down to a larger sheet and creating a collage, which then you can do things with. And in this case, I will be taking one of my tag punches and then also a few of my smaller circle punches and just creating some pieces from the main masterboard. You can do a lot of things with this. You could use it as like a full journal page. You could create a pen pal folder with it. Honestly, this is just a really good way to use up those tiny little scraps that we all collect. And also for me, it's a very zen process. It's kind of mindless and it's just fun to glue down random pieces of paper on to a larger sheet and create this like big collage that you can then use however you want to use. So as you saw in the beginning, I grabbed a bunch of scraps from my scrap box, which is always overflowing, and I am definitely one of those people that keeps like every tiny little piece. In this case, it is really good for this kind of project, and I did pull out some larger pieces, but I tore some of them in half or into multiple pieces just to make them smaller, because my main goal in this is to add quite a bit of texture. And I did speed this video up quite a bit because it took me quite a while to do this. But I was doing it while watching like a TV show or something, so it honestly didn't bother me. So for me, the size of scraps that I use on here really kind of the type of project that I'm going to be using the full masterboard for kind of dictates the size of scraps. And because I knew I was using smaller punches, I did want smaller pieces of paper just to add a lot of texture and a lot of different colors and shapes and sizes. And I knew that I didn't want like to accidentally get like one tag or whatever out of it that was like almost just one piece of paper. So I did tear everything up pretty small, and that's why honestly it took me quite a while to do. So as you can see, I'm just gluing things down like anywhere, just kind of haphazardly, and I think that's kind of the fun of it, the randomness of it all. So the kind of paper that I'm using underneath is a thinner, well, I guess, yeah, it's kind of a thinner drawing paper. So it's actually the Strathmore toned drawing paper. I have a big pad of it that I had purchased to do some pastel drawings on, and I just haven't been using it. So I thought that this would be a perfect chance to use it, and it actually is a really good thickness, because you have to remember that what you're going to be doing after it, or what you're going to be using it for, as you add the pieces of paper, you're adding more thickness to it. So if you want something super thick, then you could use cardstock. But for me, I think that this thinner drawing paper is perfect for what I needed, and the added scraps on top of it added some structure. A benefit of using a piece of paper that has a color to it, or even something like more cream colored, if you have little gaps in between the pieces of paper that you glue down, then it just kind of like melds in together, and the gray paper really helps with that. I think I did end up covering most everything on here, and as you will see later on, I add even more stuff on top of it, like washi tape, and I did some stamping, because I really wanted, once I cut out the pieces, for it to be almost like completely done. I did go back after cutting out the final like tag shapes and added like a focal point on some of them. On other ones, I just left them as the collage piece. But Again, it's up to you with what you do with this and how you decide to use it. I just think it's a really, really great way to use up all those like tiny pieces of paper that we kind of hoard. At least I kind of hoard. Now, I'm also thinking in the future of doing some more videos of like what to do with your scraps. I know that this masterboard idea, this is not a unique idea to me. I've seen it with other creators. But regardless, I think that it is a really fun process to watch, especially when you speed everything up. I think in total, this probably took me close to an hour to do. But again, if I wasn't like watching a show and if I had like all my supplies right there where I needed it and didn't have to like get up and look for stuff, it probably would have taken me maybe half that time. I get distracted a lot when I'm crafting. Do you guys get distracted? I feel like I can't just like sit down and put my head down and just do it. This project was also really good for me because I spent July on a no buy, and I did end up breaking it for one item, and I'm making the excuse that it was limited edition and it was something that I had on my wish list for a really long time. So yeah. This was a really good practice for me though, because I really have been digging into my stash over the past month and using what I have on hand. And let me tell you, that has been hard, especially when it comes to vintage items. I follow quite a few of vintage sellers on Instagram and also on Etsy. And you know, like when it comes to vintage items that once it's gone, like you may not find something that is similar or the exact piece that you had your eye on. So the kind of scarcity thing is pretty tough for me, and I don't know if you guys can relate to that or not. I definitely have been, yeah, that's been a struggle. So now I am just adding those tiny little pieces of paper to fill in those little gaps. And again, if you know, even if you don't have a colored paper underneath, you don't have to fill every tiny piece. It might look good to leave some things peeking through. So after I finish this masterboard, I decided to add some stamping on top to just add some more texture and to make everything kind of meld together a little bit more. I feel like adding stamping over the top of it, especially when the stamps like cross over multiple types of paper, that it really pulls everything together and shows that it is one cohesive piece. Stamping is not necessary, but it is fun to do. I believe these number stamps were actually an exclusive from Nico Neko. I think it was done by a calligrapher that they had create these for them. And then I'm just using some other random stamps. I used that heart stamp from London Gifties that was given to me from one of my sweet pen pals. And then I also am using these like abstract shapes, and I cannot remember the maker. It might be LCN or it might be ours. I can't remember. Actually, it might be ours studio. I got these from Yoseka Stationery. I really love these. I am not skilled at like abstract shape drawing, at least like with pen and paper. I can do it digitally like in Illustrator, but I am definitely not the best at like the doodling and the abstract shapes of like a traditional art journaler may do. And that's something that I want to get better at, but in the meantime, I think that these stamps are really helpful for that. I'm also using a bunch of different colored inks, and this ink is like some of my favorite ink. I can't remember the name of the brand. I really can't. I believe it's oil-based, but I really like using them. It stays on pretty well with the paper. I might be permanent ink, and it's my favorite ink to use. So now I'm adding some more, some washi tape over the top, and washi tape for me is also like in that that realm of adding more cohesiveness to the whole project. Because washi tape is transparent, then you see like the different pieces underneath, and again, just like the stamping, it ties everything together. It's almost like the band-aid in between, you know what I mean? And so this is actually like little faux ticket stub washi tape, so I thought it was really perfect for that, because again, I'm keeping most of the elements pretty small because the paper punches that I'm going to be using at the end are pretty small, and I wanted everything to be, I guess, in the correct ratio as far as sizing. So when you're done with your masterboard, there are quite a few things that you could do with it. You could use this as a junk journal page in itself. You could make a pen pal folder from it. You could, tear it up and use it for even more layering and collage in your journals. So as you see, I'm pulling out my small and modest collection of punches. And most of the punches that I'm going to be doing are of this tag shape. And I find that I don't know, this isn't like my favorite shape of tag. It might be better if you had like a die cut machine to do this with. That's something I do want to purchase in the future. I haven't had the room for it yet. But as you can see, I'm cutting off the places where I punch just so I can get that like flat edge so that I can punch more. And on the smaller pieces, I'm doing those circles, which I have incorporated quite a bit into my different journals. And I feel like it adds like really nice texture, and it's a nice like collage element. And I'm just using all the different shapes and sizes of punches I have. I think I only have like circles. I might have like one square, and then I have this tag. And then I also have like the little like hole protector one, which I will be doing at the end. That one was a little tougher to do just because like the thickness of the papers all together. That one just doesn't have like the same substantial feeling as the other punches I have, but I did get a few, and I really like the way that the hole protector little circles look when it's like made up of all this different kinds of paper. But that is kind of the gist of what I did and how I created the masterboard, and hopefully this gave you some ideas of what to do with your scraps. If you guys want to see more videos on like scrap busting ideas, just let me know down in the comments below, and I will try to film some more of these, because I think that it's good to attempt to use what we have. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to comment and subscribe. And I'm just so grateful that you are here with me, and I hope you guys have a great day. I will see you guys later. Bye.